Hey everyone, Jesse here, and today we're taking a look at Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds Overdrive on the Nintendo Switch. Before we jump into the review, let's take a look at some of the specs and feature list. Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds Overdrive is a beat 'em up with RPG elements. I initially bought this game as a palate cleanser after having trouble beating Hand of Fate 2. I thought this would be an easy and short romp that would help alleviate the frustration of my many roadblocks in Hand of Fate 2. Yeah, no. I was completely wrong. Upon starting the game, you're flung into the slightly video gaming world of Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds. The central story is this. Your chosen character gets sucked into a video game dimension by an evil force named the Phantom. Now it's your job to find Wakka's sister Nagi and get back home in one piece. If you're not playing as Wakka herself, then the goal changes from finding just Nagi to finding both sisters. Story-wise, Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds really isn't anything to write home about. The concept pokes fun at the fact that your character is trapped in a video game world a few times, but the game never really takes full advantage of its setting. There are plenty of opportunities for characters to reference the fact that they have to level up and increase their stats, but it never really goes there. The farthest they go is questioning why the Phantom took their abilities after the first stage. Like most beat 'em ups, you'll cycle through light, medium, and heavy attacks, setting up flashy combos and occasionally executing electrifying special moves. Movement is controlled with the Switch's D-pad. I checked out the options menu, but there isn't a way to switch your character's movement to the analog stick. Initially, I was worried the Switch's weird D-pad would make playing Phantom Breaker awkward. However, I quickly found that in both the split and handheld Joy-Con configurations, movement and other inputs were comfortable and not an issue for long play sessions. Phantom Breaker Battleground starts you off with two difficulties, normal and easy. I decided to start off on normal. On normal, the game proved to be more than a challenge as I routinely escaped encounters with low health. When you're on the first stage, this isn't too much of a problem as the game starts you off with max stats and abilities. Initially, I liked this decision a lot. Getting to tour around the game's cast, throwing everything they have at enemies is loads of fun. The effects look great and the speed for some characters made me feel like a god. However, Phantom Breaker pulls a Metroid on you by taking away all of your abilities at the beginning of the second stage. I liked getting a little preview of what the future held for my journey, but the length of that journey made this feel more like an unobtainable tease than a realistic goal. On the plus side, Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds uses this as an opportunity to reward players visually for putting in the time to level up their characters. As you get stronger, gain more abilities, and sink upgrade points into your stats, you'll notice your character gets faster in addition to any health and strength boosts you might expect. Perhaps my favorite part about this is how the effects for your abilities change as they get stronger. I haven't seen many games implement this reward, so to speak, so it's greatly appreciated when it does come around. This evolution is best displayed when you compare the first stage, where you have your character maxed out, to the next, where you're down to level 0. On normal, I barely noticed how strong I was because the enemies were still pretty difficult. However, on easy, it was like someone put training wheels on my character and told me to go have fun, which I most certainly did. I was zipping around a level, juggling enemies, unleashing my special, and just generally having a blast with combo after combo. Compare that to the next level, where you'll immediately notice how much slower your character is, and a general loss of pizzazz to your attacks. Now, as good as this all is, the downside is the fact that you have to spend a lot of time getting back to max stats. As much as I like visual upgrades, there's simply not enough in the game that could convince me to keep playing after spending 5 hours completing story mode. And then there's the difficulty. Normally, I start my games off on the hardest difficulty. For me, the challenge is what makes gaming so enjoyable, or at least part of it. With Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds, I had to play on easy. On normal, Phantom Breaker practically necessitates that you take a more tactical approach to encounters, especially boss battles. The second boss battle in particular forced me to reconsider my button mashing playstyle. Instead, I studied the boss's moves and blocked when necessary, yet I still ended up dying. So, I switched to easy. This made the game a lot more fun and the bosses a lot easier. Levels that took me at least 20 minutes on normal now took me around 15 minutes on average when playing on easy. Bosses still pose a bit of a challenge on easy, but not so much that you'll feel like throwing your Switch. And speaking of throwing your Switch, you're probably wondering how the game performs in handheld mode. Well, I'm happy to say that it runs swimmingly. I spent most of my time playing Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds in handheld mode and never experienced any crashes, frame rate dips, or anything that would cause any problems. Even during the most hectic encounters, my Switch kept on chugging. One thing to note though is that it definitely made the fan in my Switch more audible than normal. Otherwise, handheld and dock performance are both great. Post-game content is pretty scarce. Aside from the story mode, there are a few characters and difficulties to unlock. The game also offers an arcade mode where you can grab your favorite character and run around levels, killing enemies and generally trying to achieve the highest score possible before dying. This mode is essentially just the story mode without any dialogue. As such, it didn't really catch my interest as much as the story mode, mostly due to how monotonous it felt without a narrative reason to all the fighting. There's also support for local co-op and online gameplay. By the time of this review, I don't have Nintendo Online, nor anyone to play with locally. All in all, Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds is decent. Since beating the game, I found myself playing this more in bed than anything. And you know what? I think that's where this game is best suited, for those moments when you have a little bit of time to kill and feel like beating stuff up. The lack of much post-game content really kills any reason to keep playing after the credits roll. That said, as I mentioned earlier, there are a few unlockable characters and difficulty modes, so that's there if you need it. And that's all the time we have for today. If you have any questions about Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds, let me know in the comment section below. Have some games you want me to take a look at in the future? Let me know in the comment section below as well. I'm Jesse, and you're watching Mushroom Dojo. Until next time, have a good day everyone.